We had been planning the trip for 2 months. My girlfriend and I. A long weekend in the Smokies. A cabin rental outside Gatlinburg that looked exactly right. Wood-paneled interior, a hot tub out on the deck, mountain views. The kind of place that exists on Airbnb specifically to make you feel like you've escaped everything. We were excited. We arrived on a Friday afternoon. Check-in was effortless, a lockbox code, a welcome note, the specific convenience of self-check-in that Airbnb had made feel completely normal. We walked through the cabin. Living room, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, the deck with the hot tub that looked exactly like the listing photos. It was perfect. We settled in. My girlfriend noticed it on the second day. We had been there almost 24 hours before anyone noticed it. She was in the bedroom when she looked up at the ceiling and said, "Does that smoke detector look right to you?" I looked at it. It was a smoke detector, mounted on the ceiling above the bed, exactly where a smoke detector should be. I told her it looked normal. She said, "The light on it is wrong. Smoke detectors blink in a specific pattern. That one is blinking differently." My girlfriend was an engineer. She noticed things like blink patterns. I grabbed a chair. I looked at the smoke detector up close. The blink pattern was wrong, and the device felt slightly heavier than a smoke detector should feel. I took it down. Inside the smoke detector casing, behind the real smoke detection components that were installed and fully functional, was another device. A camera, pointed directly at the bed. I stood on that chair holding the device and understood exactly what had been happening. We had been inside that cabin for 24 hours. The device had been recording for 24 hours. I called 911 from inside the cabin. I called Airbnb from inside the cabin. I did both at the same time, my girlfriend on one phone, me on the other. Law enforcement in Tennessee arrived and processed the device. Airbnb suspended the host's account immediately after our report. The host, a man who had been running the property for 3 years, was charged with multiple counts of video voyeurism under Tennessee law. The investigation revealed the device had been active for the entire 3-year lifespan of the listing. Hundreds of guests. The detective leading the investigation said, "The smoke detector is the most common concealment device we encounter. It's expected to be on the ceiling. It's expected to have a light. It's expected to be above the bed because that's where smoke detectors belong. Every expectation is used against you. Check every smoke detector in any rental property. Take it down if possible. Check the weight. Check for a lens. A smoke detector that feels heavier than it should and has a lens you can't explain isn't just a smoke detector. Check every smoke detector in every rental. Before you unpack, before the first night, before you settle in. Check it." I had been using Airbnb for work travel for 3 years. Dozens of stays, different cities, different properties. I was experienced enough to have developed a routine. I checked for obvious cameras when I arrived. I checked the locks and windows. I read the house rules carefully. I had a system. The Chicago apartment I booked for a 4-night work trip had excellent reviews. Over 100 reviews. Consistently positive. A Superhost badge. I had no concerns. I arrived on a Monday evening. The apartment was on the 4th floor of a 6-unit building. A 1-bedroom. Clean, nicely furnished, exactly as advertised. The host, according to the listing, lived elsewhere. The apartment was an investment property rented out full-time. He did not live there. That was stated clearly in the listing. I did my normal check after arriving. No visible cameras. Locks worked. Windows secure. I settled in for the week. On the second evening, I came back from dinner and found something my inspection had missed. A light on in the second bedroom. There was no second bedroom. The light was shining from beneath a hallway door I had assumed was a closet. I had assumed. I had never opened it. I stood there in the hallway staring at the light under the door, and I heard, from behind the door, a sound. A person shifting their weight. The unmistakable compression sound of a human body adjusting position. I left the apartment immediately. I went downstairs to the building entrance. I called 911. I said, "I'm staying in a short-term rental on the 4th floor." I came back and found a light on behind a door I thought was a closet. I can hear someone inside. The listing states the host does not live in the property. Officers arrived in 5 minutes. They went upstairs to the apartment. Behind the door, which was not a closet but a small secondary room included in the building's original layout, minimally furnished and kept locked during guest stays, was a man. The host, who had been staying in that room. For how long was unclear, possibly for multiple nights during my stay. He was inside the property he owned. That created legal complications. Technically, he was not trespassing in his own building. But the listing had explicitly stated he did not live there. He had not disclosed the extra room. He had not disclosed his continued presence. He was reported to Airbnb, and his account was suspended pending review. Illinois consumer protection statutes were referenced in a later complaint. The investigating officer said, "The lesson here is deceptively simple. Open every door. Every single door in any rental property. Before you stay. Before you unpack. Every door. Closet. Utility room. What looks like a closet. Open all of them. A door you never open is a space you know nothing about. And a space you know nothing about is a space someone else does. Open every door. Before your first night. Every single door. In every rental property. You don't know what's behind the doors you assume are closets." There were 6 of us. A beach house rental for a long weekend. The kind of trip a group of friends plans for months, carrying the specific energy of people finally getting together after too long apart. We arrived on a Friday. The house was large. 4 bedrooms. A kitchen opening toward the ocean side. A deck. The kind of spacious layout beach rentals are designed to have for groups. We split up the rooms. Made dinner. Sat out on the deck late into the night. Saturday was spent at the beach. Saturday night was dinner out. Sunday morning was slower. Sunday morning was when my friend noticed the mirror. She was in the bathroom she shared with another person, a bathroom connected to one of the bedrooms. She had already used that bathroom twice a day for 2 days. On Sunday morning, she noticed the large decorative mirror mounted opposite the shower was. The word she used was wrong. Not crooked, not dirty, wrong. She called me into the bathroom and pointed at the mirror. I looked at it. I looked at the mounting hardware. The brackets on the wall were standard mirror mounts. But the mirror itself sat farther from the wall than mirrors usually do. There was a gap. Small. Maybe 1.5 inches. A mirror mounted flat against a wall should not have a gap behind it. A gap meant the mirror was mounted in front of something. In front of an opening. I didn't touch the mirror immediately. I went to get my phone. I turned on the flashlight. I angled the beam into the gap beneath the mirror. The flashlight illuminated a space behind it, and inside that space a lens. I called Airbnb. I called 911. In that order, within 90 seconds of each other. South Carolina law enforcement arrived and processed the device. It was a camera, positioned behind a one-way mirror. The mirror that appeared decorative had been manufactured to be reflective from the guest's side and transparent from the device side. A one-way mirror in a bathroom, facing the shower. The device was connected to a local network, recording to another device somewhere inside the house. Law enforcement located the recording device inside a locked utility closet in the garage. The host was identified and charged with multiple counts of voyeurism and related offenses. The investigation determined the device had been operating for approximately 14 months. The host's listing had been active for 16 months. The detective said, "One-way mirrors are more common than people realize. The gap is the giveaway. Any mirror in a rental bathroom. Shine your phone flashlight into the gap underneath it. If there's a gap, if there's no gap, the mirror sits flush against the wall, and you're probably fine. If there is a gap, something is behind it. The gap test takes 30 seconds. Do it in every bathroom, in every rental, before the first shower, before the first night. The gap test. Every bathroom mirror, every rental, before the first shower. If there's a gap between the mirror and the wall, shine a flashlight into it. See what's behind it. 30 seconds. That's all it takes." The property was a renovated farmhouse in rural Vermont. 4 nights. My husband and I. An anniversary trip. The specific kind of getaway you plan when you want genuine quiet and real beauty. The listing had excellent reviews. A superhost. A property operating for 2 years with consistent 5-star ratings. We arrived on a Wednesday. We did our check. By that point, we had read articles about Airbnb safety. We checked smoke detectors. We checked mirrors. We opened every door. We looked behind every decorative object large enough to hide a device. We found nothing. We were thorough, and we still missed it. On the third day, my husband, who works in IT, was troubleshooting a slow internet connection on his laptop for work when he did something routine. He checked the network, the Wi-Fi network provided by the property, and he noticed something. On the network, active connected devices. The devices he expected: his laptop, my phone, his phone, the smart TV in the living room. And devices he didn't expect. 3 additional connected devices, labeled in the device list with generic identifiers that meant nothing at first glance. But my husband understood what certain device identifiers represented. 2 of the unexpected devices had identifiers consistent with network-connected cameras. Not obvious cameras, not the kind mounted openly in a living room. The kind embedded inside ordinary objects and connected directly to the property's network. Objects like the alarm clock beside the bed. Objects like the USB charging hub on the kitchen counter. Objects like the small decorative piece on the bathroom shelf that we had examined and set back down. We had searched for lenses. We had not searched for network activity. My husband took photos of the device list on his phone. Then he said to me very calmly, "I need you to get our things. We're leaving. Right now." We left. We called Vermont State Police from the road. We sent the screenshots of the network. Law enforcement obtained a warrant and executed it the next day. They found 3 network-connected cameras hidden inside everyday objects throughout the property. The host was charged under Vermont laws covering unlawful surveillance. The investigation uncovered something that expanded the case significantly. The network logs showed a pattern of remote access. The host had been accessing the camera feeds live during guest stays. Not just recording, watching. In real time. The detective said, "Most people look for cameras visually. Your husband checked the network. The network check finds what the visual check misses. Any device connected to a rental property's Wi-Fi that you cannot physically identify is a device you need to ask about or disconnect. The simplest protection. When you arrive at a rental, check the connected devices on the network. Every smartphone can do this. If you see devices you can't account for, you found something. Check the network. When you arrive, every rental, connect to the Wi-Fi. Look at the connected devices. Count the ones you can identify. If the count doesn't make sense, you found something the visual inspection missed. This was the check that caught what everything else didn't.